Hi there everybody, welcome back to the Focus Rate channel. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. As you've seen in the title, today's topic is a pretty broad one that I'm gonna try to shorten up as much as I can and make it valuable and useful for you. You know, why do businesses ignore sales so much, and why doesn't it really help them when they use it? In short, it's because they don't understand what sales is, and also they have bad experience with it. I have to tell you, me myself, as a person that has received only positive feedback on my sales trainings, the sales teams that I coach and that I lead, from the clients and businesses that we sell for, you know, everybody's happy. But whenever they come to me, and I'm talking about companies from the software development field, from the IT industry, from the automation, from solar and green, which is amazing right now, like everybody or almost everybody has bad experience. And even on a personal level, don't you just hate it when you get called by a telecom company or by a sleazy car salesman, or just someone, you know, either it's gonna be like super boring, super like flatline, you know, monologue from someone on the other side that's not even asking you, he's just like pitching something. Or on the other hand, someone like really sleazy, whatever he says, it's like, even if it's like really good and it sounds amazing, you're like, just something's not right about this guy, you know, I cannot really trust him. Well, 90% of salespeople are like that. 90% of sales teams are like that. And I hate them as well, just like you, all right? And it's easy to fall into that category, and that's why it's such a huge number. Because, you know, one, it's difficult to understand what proper sales is, and that's influencing people in a positive manner for them to be able to make an educated decision themselves, and also understanding how much value you have in your product and service. Not manipulating them, not lying, not over or underselling. So it's like, there's many things here, but the number of people that can really do that are the sole leaders that really take pleasure into it. The pleasure of communicating and negotiating in a proper way with the person on the other side. Let that be in a B2C or B2B manner, a CEO of a company, a director, or just like a client and an individual client. It's all the same. Everybody thinks, by the way, that B2C and B2B are really different, but it's just human communication. Yes, there is a difference in the the time frame of the sales cycle, how long a sale goes on before it gets closed or you sign a contract, and a couple of other things. There's certainly differences, but in how you talk to people, if you really know what you're doing, you're just going to be natural. You're just going to be a person that tells the truth. You're going to be a person that asks the proper questions. And let me tell you one thing, you're going to be a person that listens. That's the main issue here. People don't listen. And actually, I feel like this even stems from the owners of the companies, because, you know, as I said, when someone with the company comes to me and he wants to talk, you know, first of all, they don't have enough results. They don't have the required for themselves, I guess, annual revenue for them to feel satisfied. When they come, they're just negative. They're close-minded. They've tried something really cheap in the past, something really, you know, and by the way, if something is expensive, doesn't really mean that it's good, obviously. But for instance, there's a lot of corporations, big names, that offer sales outsourcing or marketing outsourcing, and it's still as shit. And I do apologize for my language, but this is my channel, you know, get over it. But there's a lot of big corporations that are also really expensive, and it's bad service, bad quality service. And then there's also like one-off cheap ponies, like some random agencies, and it's like a freelancer on the side. And you know, it's like, I don't know how companies always pick one of those two extremes. The super cheap one-off guy that's really, I've had companies tell me that for 1 year they didn't receive a single proposal from a company like that when they worked with it, and others that just pay and expand and just like throw some budget into a huge corporation, and it's still the same thing. And why am I saying this? First of all, the problem is that a lot of those companies that have this issue, even for starters, they think that the product sells itself. Regardless if they do any marketing or sales, they feel like they need to properly adjust the product, which is, you know, you should do that, but that's not related to sales. You know, you should probably make some kind of a change in your targeting, in your audience, what's missing, what's not. Please stop. Like that's fine. And that leads you to that really tiny percentage of clients that have the need. And by the way, not only should they have the need, but you should also be lucky enough to catch them at the right spot at the right time when they have that need. Let's say they have some kind of a project, if it's B2B, or it's a client that needs a service and it's right on this spot right now in November or whatever, and you catch them and your product just meticulously fits the problem and the need that they have, and they just buy. And businesses think that's it, like that's sales. Like you just need someone to do that communication and do something there. That's not sales. That's a client that buys. That's your smallest group that you're gonna have, and you should have it because obviously it means that your product or service is working, so it has like an audience there. But do you really understand? And that's why I said in the beginning, the problem is that either the company doesn't understand what sales is, or they have bad experience. Do you actually understand what huge percentage of clientele you have that you're not tapping into if people are already buying without you even knowing how to sell, without your people understanding how to communicate properly, negotiate properly with the person, provide the needed example? Because why am I saying example? Whenever I ask, and that shows me how much the person on the other side understands what we do. Whenever I ask what's your brand, they start talking as if they're Coca-Cola or as if they're like Nike, right? And they're not, and we are not. Like the number of companies that would have such a brand that you really know the brand, it's a really small one. Every single company needs to understand, like 99% of companies, SMEs, even some corporations, need to understand your brand is the person that's talking with the client. That's the brand. And if you have a team of 10 people, and let's say I'm speaking with one guy, to him the brand is going to be high quality. This is a person that can get me through anything. He's going to make sure to go through any challenge with me. He's going to support me, and he's going to be honest and transparent regardless of how I feel. And I love that. That's going to be your brand because that's what I'm going to be expressing. And a lot more. Now, if you catch one of those telecom guys or one of those sleazy people, your brand is going to be boring or a liar, regardless of how good your product is. Or in many cases, by the way, the most common one is your brand is not the priority. Your product is not the priority because they come and they go and you're just the same as the others. The way you communicate to people, again, regardless if it's B2C or B2B, is what translates the value of your product and service and prioritizes it for the person on the other side. Because you might think that you're in competition with other firms that are in your place that have a similar product, and that's the case. But you're also in competition with other firms that are on the same price level, with other issues that maybe this client has certainly prioritized at the moment. So you're just gonna wait, and when you're waiting, you know what happens? They lose interest. Like that's sales, they lose interest. And you're never gonna be able to immediately get the deal or go through that. But what I'm simply trying to say is that if your product has value or service, if you have value, then you're helping that person or that company in one way or another. So might as well make sure to translate that in the best way possible and do it as soon as possible, because you don't want them to go on forever without you, right? So sales is basically translating that. And that's where you move from the majority of companies that are selling to buying clients. You're not selling, the client is buying, right? And that's cool, okay. But that's where you transition to from the sea to the ocean of clients that you can actually influence in a positive way, not manipulate, not push, not pressure, but influence. And that takes effort, and it takes a lot of energy. And it's energy. Like if I go into a room, and I train sales teams all the time, and when I get into a room, immediately, just by looking at your eyes, I understand who's the top performer, who's boring, who's dead, who's what. Like, get a coffee, at least. Do some push-ups, get some of that blood moving. What are you doing? Because even if I'm sitting silent and I'm your client, you cannot persuade me into anything with the energy that I have. I cannot take you seriously. So wake the fuck up. So that's one. So why am I saying that one is energy? How many people in your team, because you might even have one person, or maybe you're the guy, oh, pardon, or maybe somebody else, I don't know. How many people in your team, when you go into a room every single day, and that's possible, by the way, don't think, if you tell me, oh no, they cannot have energy every single day, okay, they don't like your company, they don't like themselves, they don't like something. You cannot be on 100% every single day, obviously, but all I'm saying is show a positive interest in your product, in your service, in yourself and the client, and mainly the client. For the client to take you seriously, otherwise, in many cases, he's gonna be like, okay, Joe, I like your product, I like your service, thank you for fixing this, call me back in February, call me back in 4 months. That's the problem. It's cool, it's fine. You're not enough though. You cannot make me prioritize this right now and spend my money on you instead of spending it there. So please understand. First, get everybody in your team, everybody, to train every single morning role plays. Because I can go on and basically tell you, come, let me train them. Whatever, forget about that. Get your team, they have a sales manager. In the majority of cases, by the way, they're like doing nothing. I've seen them. Because they should be on the phone, giving an example to your team, how to call, how to handle objections, how to talk, how to close, how to talk about big numbers, regardless if it's millions or whatever, depends on the product. And every single morning, 1 hour role play. Why are role plays never done in companies? Because you're bad. Because you're bad. A team that's good and that knows what they are doing, they're not gonna be ashamed of sounding like an idiot because it happens on a role play. They're not gonna be scared of receiving a tough objection from their manager or a colleague or something. They should want that, because the tougher the role play is, the easier the communication with the client is. Just like in training, you know, more blood and sweat in the training, less in the ring. Whatever you want to say, you know what I mean. But look, that's one, role plays. That's my after the energy, top one priority. Energy, role plays. Then when you do the role plays and you really understand where your team is, training. Outside training from people. They're always gonna bring something fresh, something new, something cool. Some of them are not gonna be as good. Others are gonna be like super badass and cool, like me. But the idea is, go through the energy of the team. If the energy is lacking, either they have personal or business issues, obviously, and you need to fix that. And from that point on, maybe you can start. Are the salaries okay? Hey, by the way, don't ignore that. Is your bonus and commission scheme bad for those people? No, okay, well, they're not gonna sell. You can, I've seen companies, I have even rejected some, no bonus, sales training. What? Excuse me? Why? Okay, like what's the idea? So be living in reality, okay, for you to actually be able to make magic with sales. So energy, role plays, then training, and then even personal consultations with those people and with your manager. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people say, yes, the employees this, the employees that, and that's okay, cool, yeah, everybody's an individual. But I can tell you, the team will never outgrow the sales manager. Never. Your sales manager is the top barrier of the team. As good as he is, that's what you're gonna get. So always train them. Get someone to speak with them. Help them. And one more thing. Okay, it's fine for the salespeople to sometimes reject training. It's totally normal, especially if they're bad, by the way. Like 1 out of 50, let's say, not 1 out of 10, 1 out of 50 companies that come to me and call me are actually companies with strong teams that just want to get something fresh, get some new examples, get some new ideas, talk a bit, challenge them. It's fun. The rest 49, it's bad teams that don't know where they are, and the salespeople, because they're bad, they don't want the challenge, it's tough, they don't want the training, and that's normal. And when we started, they immediately love it, you know, and everything's running smoothly, and it's always like, you know, it depends on the situation and on the business, so every single training is different. But if your sales manager doesn't want to do a training, then that's like ego. End of story. That's an arrogant person who is scared, regardless of how they sound and how much you trust. You know, maybe sometimes they need 1 month to get through like some kind of a quota or target, but just them saying, no, we don't need a training, instead of, okay, let's do it next month. Bad red flag. Bad red flag. So please, before you go on and try to spend money on useless stuff, like just spamming marketing or like product, like I've seen companies that spend 2, 3, 5 million in product development. You need that. Or just creating the product initially, and 500,000, 1 million in marketing, and they spend for like 1 or 2 sales guys $3,000 per month. What? Excuse me? Do you understand what you're doing? How much your investment into your sales department should be at least the same amount as the products one, in a span of, let's say, okay, 1 or 2 years, with commissions, with bonuses, with everything. So by the way, when you do that, the department is always going to be on a plus. Yeah, you cannot go on a net negative there if you know what you're doing and you have a working, viable product and service, and it's valued at the proper price. Okay, as I said in the beginning, no overvaluing, no understanding of the product, understating, undervaluing, and all of those things. But look, be a bit more open-minded to those things, because in the past 3 years, and I've been doing sales for 12 years, I've been seeing a tremendous decrease in the quality of sales. A tremendous. No, as a person that has worked also in a huge outsourcing company, worst of the worst. Please don't do that. Please, like, just it's going down. The clients are gonna continue. It's people. They're gonna become more dissatisfied with the service and the product and with your company. Or the businesses as well are not gonna respect you as much. You're not gonna be as credible. Invest a bit more into training those guys, and even if needed, hiring a team that really knows what they're doing, or when you're building it internally, consult with someone. I cannot tell you how many CEOs come like 1 or 2 months after they hired head of marketing or head of sales that they don't know anything, and they have someone that says that they're the best, and they literally almost bankrupt the company. You know, that's a strong word, but you understand what I mean, right? Just when you're hiring someone that's going to be ahead of your department, okay, still, again, pay someone to consult you on that interview. Why not? Why not? It's an investment. Is this not your business? And by the way, I'm speaking really a lot in the direction of owners, because I speak with owners all the time, just like myself, CEOs, founders, and to the salespeople, girls, boys, men, women, regardless. Do you think selling well, influencing people in a positive way, being honest, transparent, and them appreciating you, listening to the client and understanding what they need, and going through that whole hustle every single day, you think that's more difficult than you being miserable on your chair and making calls all the time and everybody's telling you to just go and disappear? It's not. Knowing how to sell is gonna make it so much more easier for you. It's gonna be like, you're gonna be so much more positive. It's always connected to the personal life. The business and the personal life in sales, specifically in sales, are always connected. Those that say, no, this is business, that's all right. If your girlfriend breaks up with you today, tomorrow you're not gonna make a deal, I can tell you. Okay, maybe some exceptions. It's gonna be a bummer. The way you feel, the way you live, the way you behave. That's why sales is a highly paid role, and it's so difficult for people to stay there. 80% of people in sales leave after 3 years and they don't come back to sales, regardless of the industry, because it's difficult here. So if you're doing bullshit before or after work, sleeping, drinking, partying, eating crap, not taking care of yourself, being hateful towards your friends or family, even, there's people like this. I don't need you in my team. I don't know what you're talking about. Go and fix yourself. After that, maybe you can fix my clients. Okay? So, to the salespeople, request training. Go and ask, hey, let's get somebody cool. Let's get somebody nice. Let's get someone that can challenge us as well. And that's going to be direct and say it to my face. because the client is going to be thinking that, but he's not going to say it. And do that, and you're going to have a much better life, much better business, and your product and service is going to get to more people. Okay, and that's the end of story. So I can talk all day, but that's it for today. All right, I'm going to get back to this topic later on when something pops to my mind. I really thank you all for watching this. I hope that it was helpful. Write some comments at the bottom. Maybe I'm going to leave like some contacts here. I don't know, but thank you so much again. I wish you all a successful start of the week, and I'll speak to you next time. Have a nice one.